Welcome to Menon Thoughts, where technology, life, and growth comes together with purpose. I'm Govin Menon here to walk you through the challenges of your career and times of healing. This is episode 1 of our new series, Building Software Projects the Right Way. Let's start with all the great products, how the great products begin, the foundation, products or projects, either ones, right? Foundation is what I believe is important for building a good software product or a project, like in case of a good building, right? Okay, so why does the foundation matter? In the last 25 plus years that I have been in the industry, what I believe is basically a shaky foundation will collapse even if you have the best code. Successful software project starts long before the first line of code is written. It starts with a clear vision of the problem statement, what the real problem are we solving, and the right mindset of the initial people who come into the product team or the project team and the team that is built beyond, right? That's the culture of the particular team that that helps in making the software successful. Most failures, according to me, they are not because the technology was bad or the tech stack was bad. They are due to unclear goals. When you start off with the product development, you are not clear what you're trying to achieve. Over-ambitious scope from what it could achieve when the project completes. Poor team alignment between different teams that are there. Weak leadership or the ownership of the entire project or the product development, which actually guides the entire team, right? Okay. So based upon my 25 years plus experience that I have, I believe, I mean, these are my thoughts again, not written anywhere in books or anything, but I believe there are 5 pillars of success. Let's break it down. What makes a project succeed? According to me, the first and the foremost is the problem that you are trying to address, whether it's a project or a product, not the idea. It's the problem statement that you are trying to solve the real pain, not just build something cool, right? Whether it is a product or a project, again I repeat, right? Clear MVP definition. Don't build everything at the first shot. Don't try to overachieve it. Build something small which solves the core problem that particular project or a product is going to actually solve, right? Build that. Build something which can be taken out to the stakeholders and get it validated, right? Aligned teams and roles. Everyone should know that what they are solving within that whole puzzle of the software development cycle, not just what they are coding, right? The entire development team has to know what is the end result that we are going to achieve by developing this particular software or the product, right? And again, the fourth one, my favorite, which you must have seen from my previous videos. Again, I'll put the playlist up there if you have not seen those videos. That is the agile mindset, right? Not just ceremonies, but being open to change and feedback. I'll not go into detail of that. That you can see in that playlist that I was talking about, right? Okay. Technology that fits the problem is the fifth and the final thing. Choose tool that serve the mission, not the trend, right? Again, this I have covered in detail in the right tool set video. I'll put that link also somewhere up here, the playlist which is linked to the agile and the technology stack stuff that we have, right? Okay. Okay, so from my own experience or my time frame which I have worked on the projects and products, I have seen millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars being pumped into projects and they crash, right? Uh, because these basic 5 things are ignored, right? For example, like a product may have 10 developers, 3 frameworks, but 0 clarity, and it will fail, right? I mean, it'll definitely fail, right? I mean, until and unless you do not go with that mindset of saying that, okay, this particular solution that we are building has to solve a particular problem, right? And if we do not have that clarity, and number of resources you put, it will not solve the problem, right? In those scenarios, what happens is 6 months of your work, whatever the team has done, there would be rework, and you will just lose time. You might even lose your client, right? On the other hand, take an example of a startup that are there, right? I mean, or startups that I have mentored or I have worked with, where we will go ahead and we define MVP so tight that we know exactly in 2 weeks or 3 weeks what we are going to give, right? And we shipped in the 3rd week to the client, and the client was happy, and then we iterated fast. The primary reason was we had clarity of what we want to build. So we actually spent, even before we wrote a single line of code, we spent like 3 to 4 weeks just making sure we have understood the requirement of the client. And that's how we are doing it in the current organizations that I'm working with, where we spend probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, close to a month, in just identifying what we are building, the context diagram, the integration diagram, and then you have the deployment diagram. All these things, they play a major role in actually defining that MVP that you want to build, right? So one of the projects that I'm working on right now, it's a big retail chain in Middle East. What we are doing is we have divided a project which is probably of a 1 year long project. We have divided into already 3 phases, right? I mean, phase 1 is MVP, then you have got release 1, then you have got release 2, then you have got release 3. Our MVP is still under development, right? I mean, we are still going and discussing the requirements, and then we are building out. We spent 3 weeks to 4 weeks on that particular part, understanding the MVP. And now we are discussing, then we discussed release 1, which is going to be developed only after the MVP is finished, but we had already created our clarity on release 1, release 2, and right now we are working on release 3. So the gist of it is basically we are way ahead in the planning and understanding the requirement, not waiting for everything to be designed first before we actually build out the product, right? Okay, or the solution that this is a project, so the solution that we are providing, right? So what I believe, even before you start doing these context diagrams, architecture, tech stack, or execution, take a pause. Ask yourself, or you as a leader should take a step back and look at it, saying that, do I know the problem deeply enough? Do I know what exactly is the pain point for this particular stakeholder or the persona, if you may? Do you have that information saying that this is their problem statement and what you're trying to achieve? Is your MVP clear, the minimum viable product, the first thing that you're going to give? Because if that is not clear, and if you deliver something bad, then you have to do a rework, which means your project is getting pushed out again, and then your release 1, release 2, release 3, or whatever, how many releases you have, will all be a failure, because you have already failed on your first step of MVP. Hence your release 1 will be delayed, hence your release 2, release 3 will be delayed, and your confidence that you would get from your stakeholders will be less, right? I mean, they would not be as confident about your capability of delivering compared to comparatively if you have failed on the MVP itself. And also most critical, most important, does your team know why we are building this, right? I mean, the project that I'm talking about right now, we have a team of 4 to 5 junior developers. It's a larger team, but the team that I'm handling, it's a smaller team. We have got 2 architects and we have got 4 to 5 developers who are there. Those developers are way younger. I mean, they have got like 4 to 5 years experience in the industry, probably 6-7 years experience. So they are going to be the workhorses on this particular thing. The architects, the senior guys are more giving guidance and then putting the architecture and all. But if they don't have a clarity as to what they're building, they would build up something which would be really messed up, right? So taking that into account, your team should know what is going to be there, right? Okay. So this was a small episode. The reason behind that is because I just wanted to give an intro episode for the series that is building software the right way. So this episode is just to give that direction as to what all we will be covering. Basically, as we go into this series, we will be covering the 5 pillars that are there, right? Which I just talked about. Problem first, not the idea. Clear MVP definition. Aligning the teams and roles. Agile, probably a refresh on Agile, how we can do it, and how to select a technology that fits the problem, right? I mean, so right. So the next one that we might bring in is probably on this particular series itself. The next video that will come out is how to architect your software. Simple, scalable, sustainable architecture that you can you can build or you can choose, which will ensure that the solution that you're building, product or project, is on a very strong foundation. That would be our next episode, which will probably come out in a week's time, right? That's all from Menon Thoughts for this video. This is Menon Thoughts signing off. Until we connect again, keep learning, keep caring.